So the Super Bowl is in the past, and it's almost time to turn the page on this last season. And a new league year is getting ready to kick off any day now. And one of the first parts of a new league year is the franchise tag period. From February 22nd to March 8th this season, players have a chance to be franchise tagged by their teams. And these guys that are unrestricted free agents, they get a chance to get those tags applied to them. And it's going to be a one-year deal that basically allows the team to almost have them on a rental basis, and also gives them the rights. That way these players don't hit the open market and these teams don't have to worry about competing with other teams in order to sign them to a contract. But we'll get into the details a little bit later. But in this video, we're going to talk about, is anybody on the Carolina Panthers a candidate for a franchise tag? And if they do it, how much do they expect to pay them in a long-term contract? Because last year we know they used it on Taylor Moton to give themselves more time. Then they agreed to the long-term deal at the last minute and got the deal done. Of course, Moton's our best lineman at this point, and it worked out for everybody. But we'll see. Will they use that same method this year on another player? Let's talk about it. Starting right now.
Yo, man, let's get it popping, man. Another day to be blessed to be out here, man. Hey, let's get it, man. Squad on 3, 1, 2, 3.
My name is Aaron Duncan, here with the Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk, and I start off every video by saying, what up, dope? Here on Necessary Bluntness, I give recap and analysis of the Carolina Panthers. So make sure you hit the subscribe button below if you want to see more videos about the Panthers, because got a lot of stuff coming up in this crazy offseason. You don't want to miss a thing, so make sure you hit the subscribe button. But the first crazy thing we're going to talk about is his franchise tag, man, because we have some players that are unrestricted free agents, and first people that come to mind are the big three. And that's going to be Stephon Gilmore, Dante Jackson, and Hassan Riddick. There's some other free agents, but definitely none of them are even close to be remotely franchise tag eligible. You guys let me know down below in the comments, who do you think maybe out of those three or anybody else on the team could be eligible, or you would consider putting the franchise tag on? Because like I said, the franchise tag is just a one-year rental. Kind of like when you're dating a girl and yeah, you've been going steady for a little decent amount. She's showing the stuff that you like, but you don't want to fully commit to her. You may say, hey, okay, you'll be my main one or only one, but you don't want to sign anything long-term or put a title to anything long-term. So you keep them in that little gray area, I guess. And that's kind of where the franchise tag is. The thing about the franchise tag in the NFL, though, it can be very expensive. Players don't like it because they don't get the same long-term security and guaranteed money that they get for a long-term deal. Teams like it because they don't have to commit to giving these players a long-term deal, and they give them another year to prove that, hey, maybe the last year wasn't a fluke if they only had one good year, or maybe they say that, hey, you just come off an injury, we don't want to give you a long-term deal, let's give you a franchise tag just to let you play under that one-year deal and see what happens. It can be very expensive because the whole contract is fully guaranteed. There's some math that goes into the numbers. I won't go deep into it, but somewhere between getting the average of the top 10 at the position or getting 120% of the certain salary is how it's calculated, and it changes every year. But in particular this year, for the guys that I just named as far as cornerback and outside linebacker like Hassan Riddick, the averages are a little bit steep. Let's take a look. So if you are interested in franchise tagging your linebacker like Hassan Riddick, it's going to cost you $17.4 million for that year. If you're interested in franchise tagging your cornerback, it's going to cost you about $17.3 million. Both pretty steep numbers and nothing to sniff at. However, the franchise tag is, some people don't like to play under it. Now, let's talk about these scenarios. Hassan Riddick, we know that he came over from the Cardinals and they didn't think that he was worthy of getting a long-term deal because they thought he might have been a one-hit wonder playing on the edge. He came to Carolina, showed that he can do it all again. Yeah, he struggled against the run a little bit, and people want to talk about how small he is coming off the edge, but double-digit sacks in back-to-back years, it's hard to sniff at that in this NFL. Pass rushers are always a commodity. So do you do that to Hassan Riddick? I don't know. Let's go to the next one. Stephon Gilmore. This is the big one because we got Stephon Gilmore in that trade with the New England Patriots. He was on the PUP list for a little bit, but he ended up playing, made an instant impact. He's an older corner, but he's pretty much locked down. He's a vet. He could be a stabilizing piece. He's from South Carolina. He loves the area. He loves Charlotte. His wife loves Charlotte. He's made that clear on Twitter. But Stephon Gilmore making $17 million. I'm telling you, he's not going to be happy about this franchise tag because he doesn't want to play under. He doesn't even want to fool with it. He probably wants to hit the open market if he can. But the Panthers, when they brought him in, they said that they would talk about getting a long-term deal done at a later date. Like I said, players do not like the franchise tag because of the short-term implications. I don't think the Panthers can afford to keep anybody on a franchise tag anyway, but I think it could be a good tool to use on a guy like Stephon Gilmore. You gave her a 6th-round pick, which is not much, but he's a huge impact player, and Carolina's not a huge attractive free agent site destination. So if you have a chance to kind of keep a guy close to the vest like Stephon Gilmore, you do it. and you make sure you keep him here. That way you have exclusive rights to negotiate with him until that window is up. So I definitely would probably give a long look at putting on Stephon Gilmore. Last but not least, a lot of people are forgetting about Dante Jackson. Now, Dante Jackson, we remember the former second-round pick. He's had a career where he started out with a lot of interceptions early in his career, but he's always been a gambler, a little bit undersized, so he struggled at times, and his coverage skills have left much to be desired for some fans. Nevertheless, this last contract year, he played very, very well, regardless of what people may think about and what the masses may think. But Dante Jackson, his future is a little bit in limbo. He's coming off that injury, and it seems like he's the type of guy that Matt Rhule likes. He's always talking about Dante Jackson being the brand and how they really like his intensity and leadership and what he brings to the table and how much he's matured. And I can agree. He has matured a lot. He's come a long way from that meltdown we saw against the Steelers back a couple years ago on TV when he got pushed off by Antonio Brown and burnt for a touchdown, to now being one of the veteran leaders and kind of bringing a lot of swag and playmaking ability to that secondary. I do like Dante, and I like the prospects of possibly giving him a long-term deal. Now, do they use the franchise tag on him? I don't know. A lot of people see the scenario as it's going to be one or the other when it comes to signing Gilmore or Dante Jackson. It's just a matter of who they can afford and who they like better. Do you like youth and speed, or do you like Stephon Gilmore, who's a known commodity, a vet that you may only get 3 to 4 more good years out of? However, he's a lockdown corner and one of the best corners in the league when he's healthy and on the field. Either way, both of these guys, if you franchise them, they're going to cost you about $17.3 million. Now, you only get one franchise tag per offseason. And if I had to use it, as you can kind of tell by how I was getting at, I would use it on Stephon Gilmore. If you plan on actually trying to re-sign him, you have to use it on him. Do not let a guy like Stephon Gilmore go into the open market. There are plenty of teams that have bread out there, a lot more salary cap space and bread than the Panthers do to spend, that may feel like they're one cornerback piece away to be able to make a run at a championship. Not a lot of people want to be a part of a rebuild. So if you allow Stephon Gilmore to get the open market and have to compare apples to apples, and the Panthers end up having to get in a bidding war, 9 times out of 10, they're going to lose the most teams. I think a guy like Dante could possibly give a hometown discount. So I feel like you don't need to put a franchise tag on him. You may be able to get the bag somewhere else, maybe in Washington with Ron Rivera, who loves kicking the tires on the former guys that he drafted, especially with Marty Hurney there. But I don't think he'll be as competitive. The market won't be as competitive for Dante as it would for a guy like Stephon Gilmore. And as far as Hassan Riddick, a lot of people may not put him on the edge like that. Hassan Riddick, pass rushers and stuff like that are a hot commodity, like I said, but I think that the familiarity with Matt Rhule, the familiarity with Phil Snow, and his ability to excel in a system that Phil Snow runs will probably be the determining factor to give him maybe not a hometown discount, but will definitely look to Carolina to step up and make a deal, and he would kind of give them the inside track to signing him. He's already said that he wants to be here and build and wants to be a part of something like this, so it's a matter of making it happen. But on the other end, we've definitely heard Scott Fitterer and Phil Snow talk about wanting to get bigger, and with Daquan Jones that was inside and Derek Brown, you can't get much bigger than that. So we had to be talking about the edges, and with Brian Burns still being under contract, Hassan Riddick could be the target that they were talking about getting bigger at. So maybe they're not interested in bringing back a Hassan Riddick because they want to be a little bit more stout against the run. There's a lot of mixed messages and a lot of stuff that's going to play out. Typically, these franchise tags don't get applied until the last minute, which is March 8th, and you'll have until July 15th to negotiate a deal. Last year, the Panthers waited to the last second on both. They waited till March 8th, and the last day of the franchise tag deadline to franchise Taylor Moton. They also waited till the 10th hour, 11th hour, whatever you want to call it. It was literally like 10 minutes left before the 4 o'clock cutoff on July 15th to sign Moton to that long-term deal. So the Panthers expected to play it close. If they do it, and we'll see what happens. But you guys let me know down below in the comments, who do you think could be eligible for that franchise tag on this team? And if you would do it, if you had the opportunity. So without further ado, I'm Aaron Duncan signing off. Make sure you guys are subscribed and hit the bell icon. That way you get a notification when you see these videos, watch these videos and get notifications. So do all that. You know what I'm saying? I just said a mouthful, but regardless, I'm out of here. Peace.